So my name is Abdulaziz, and as Kim said, I'm going to talk about efficient adaptive mesh refinement algorithms and data structures, specifically for local time stepping. We'll start with a bit of motivation, like why did we choose to go this way or this specific algorithm. We start with the monodomain equation, which governs the electrophysiology of the heart. We discretize it using discontinuous Galerkin semi-discretization to get the following equation. Dennis will talk in more detail about the theory behind it. And then we apply reaction diffusion operator splitting. We get the following equation. And then what we notice is when we use discontinuous Galerkin discretization, that the M matrix is actually just blocks like diagonal, which can be inverted easily. Then we can do like M inverse K and M inverse N to get the last equation, the semi-discretized equation at the end. And solving this, we notice that we have for a conduction velocity benchmark, which is like a standard benchmark for electrophysiology, we notice that the high gradients exists only around the wave itself. And with adaptive mesh refinement, we can highly reduce the number of degrees of freedom we need to solve this problem. This is one motivation to use adaptive mesh refinement. And in reference 1 at the end, we see Dennis already solved this with MFM. And this is a figure from his paper. And the second thing we notice is temporal change happens only or like relatively at the wavefront or like the wave, the region of the wave. The blue and the orange or reddish regions usually stay blue or orange until the wave hits them. So it doesn't make sense to use a very small time step for the whole problem. And here comes the local time stepping algorithm. We choose different time step for different elements based on a criterion that we decide. Like for example, for this one, it would be related to the wave itself traveling. And with this method, we reduce the number of iterations we reduce the computational cost for computing the full problem instead of just using a small dt for the full problem. What allows us to do this is that we couple the degrees of freedom by using discontinuous Galerkin. So each element has its own degree of freedom. They don't share them. So with DG, we have the local matrix. It's not shared, and local nice matrix. And then there's the interface matrix, which can be computed easily without having like can be computed on the interfaces without limiting us to sharing the same delta t for every element. So we interpolate the degree of freedom value for the elements with high delta t values to use it for the elements with low delta t values, like small ones. So we want adaptive mesh refinement algorithms that's suitable for this kind of algorithm. And we decided to go with adaptive mesh refinement by superposition rather than something like parallel forest. Actually, Dennis used parallel forest, I believe, in the MFM implementation, but here we'll use a different one. Why specifically? Because it has multiple advantages. We don't need to rematerialize the grid. Like for I believe the implementation currently that Maxi displayed, we rematerialize the grid after each iteration. We don't need to do this in our implementation here. The neighborhood and topology can be inferred only from the root cells. We don't need to recompute the topology for every child cell in this implementation. And also we retain the parent cell. As you see from the numbering, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the left. We remove number 4, and number 4 becomes one of the children. While on the right, you can see that number 4 stays one of the parent cells, and we have 5, 6, 7, 8 like the new cells. This way, we can easily do coarsening by just going back in the hierarchy. While if we delete the cell, we have to do other procedures to do coarsening for this grid. And we do not need to enforce continuity for this approach when using discontinuous Galerkin. However, for this specific method, we can enforce continuity without having much of a hassle because it does something. It retains the base functions or the shape functions of the parent cell and reuses them for the children at the nodes that are hanging nodes. So this way, they are not actually considered hanging nodes. It's as if we disable them. We actually disable them, but it's not disabling the DOF itself. It's disabling the shape function at the DOF and using other ones to compute the value at this DOF. But this is a bonus for discontinuous Galerkin. We actually don't even need to do this. And we can actually delete the parent cell in this case, which we don't do. We just ignore the mass matrix of the parent cell, but we don't delete it in our case in DG. And we did an implementation, a naive implementation. We have simple data structures just to prove that it's not hard to implement this with Ferrite, with local time stepping and get a simple example working and going on. We have the DG cop cell. It's called cop because the method was proposed by, I believe, Philip Kopp in one of his papers. Here, the sequence of refinement is stored as a vector of integers. We should not do that. And actually, we changed this afterwards, but this was like the last working example we have. And we actually can store it in one integer as like sequence of bits. And the neighbors are an n tuple of vectors of neighborhood and neighbor index. We'll show neighbor index in the following slides. But this is only for the 2D case because we have only 4 neighbors for each cell. And it has a vector of neighbors, not just a neighbor, because it's non-conforming. We can have multiple neighbors for one cell, for one face. And the interface matrix indices, this is something we have with the preliminary implementation. It shouldn't be here. It's just the indices that you index by to get the interface of this cell, because we save the interface matrices in a vector of we save the interface matrices for a vector in a vector of matrices, and we use this to index them for each face of the cell. And we have a DG cop grid. This one is a bit easier than the one that Maxi did with parallel forest because we don't need to create a new grid thing. We have the grid encapsulated inside of our DG cop grid. So it can be just a simple mesh like in Thunderbolt. We don't have to have like the cell sets or the face sets. It's just a generic mesh. And we have the cop roots, which is a vector of the root elements. They are not the elements themselves, like they don't store the coordinates of the vertices. It's a custom struct. We have the vector of interface matrices, which is, you can say, the mass matrix for each interface, like the coupling between the elements. And then we have the root face orientation info. This one was a bit confusing at first, but we use it because we have DG. We need to transform the the quadrature points on the interfaces, and we store it only for the root faces because all of the children cells inherit their orientation from their parent. And this is actually one of the cool things about it because we don't need to recompute the orientation again for every child, and we don't need to compute the topology, in fact, for every child because they also inherit the topology of their parents. And this is implemented already in our implementation. So. We have the interface update indices and interface level and interface recompute. These 3, they don't belong here. They shouldn't belong in the grid itself. However, we have them just for the implementation to work because our implementation doesn't resize the vector of matrices until we know how many entries we need. So we only do the resizing and copying once. And thus we minimize the overhead we do. We have to do this. And interface update indices stores the indices of the updated interface matrices. So we just copy them to the correct indices and recompute because we sometimes need to recompute the interface matrices. And here's the DG cop root. It stores the children, the cell matrices, which is like the vector of mass matrices, and is it marked or refinement or not as a bit vector, and the degrees of freedom as a vector of integer. We should move in the future, move this to a DOF handler or some kind of a custom DOF handler maybe. And the children updated indices for the same reason, so we don't resize the vector more than once. And for neighborhood, we have a naive implementation. We don't use the Morton index. We use a simple struct of the root, like the number of the root, the number of the child inside of the root, and then the neighboring face. We can get rid of the neighboring face because we already know the orientation of the parent. We can get rid of the child. Sorry, not the child. We can group the child and the root in one integer. However, from my perspective, I have seen that this implementation seems to be more efficient because we don't need to like compute stuff again and again and again. We can just cache these and index with these three numbers quickly without doing a lot of bit manipulation operations. And we have these algorithms that we do for marking for refinement. This is one of the most interesting things we have, that we don't need to resize the vector a lot of times. It's just only one time. We iterate over all of the roots, mark them for check the ones that are marked for refinement, keep track of how many marked for refinement cells are there, iterate over the interfaces, and then check the highest level of refinement for the interfaces and its neighbors, because we don't want, if we have like multiple threads or multiple cores, multiple threads, yeah, working on refining a grid, we don't want two threads to have like the one interface. They have totally different cells, but they might have that same interface, and they compete which one should refine this interface. So we check which one has the highest level of refinement, and with that we decide which one gets refined or increases the number of cells needed to be added, or sorry, number of matrices need to be added. And then at the end we resize once and update our topology. And the topology is not like the full topology we have in Ferrite. It's a very simple one. Like it only stores the neighbors of the cell on each face. And then there is a simple case of refining. We have two cells, cell 1, cell 2. Cell 2 has only one neighbor, which is root number 2, child number 1, and then face number 4. Once we refine, now we have this interface, which is not conforming. We have a hanging node. The interface of cell 6 has two neighbors, so it has two interface matrices. And on cell 3 and cell 4, they each have one interface matrix. And one might argue, okay, maybe cell number 6 has one interface matrix, which includes the contribution of cell 3 and cell 4. Well, actually, yes, that's what we can have by combining the two interface matrices of cell 3 and cell 4. And that's what we do. And then we mark cell 6 for refinement. Oh, it should be 5. We refine it, and then we don't need to push or resize the vector for interfaces because we already have two. It's not the highest level of refinement on that interface. So we don't change the size of this interface vector, but we mark them for recompute. Then calculating the cell matrix, it's the simplest thing in this implementation because we actually change nothing. It's standard Ferrite thing. The only difference is that we don't use cell values. Why? This is the demonstration of how we share the degrees of freedom between the parent and the child. We don't do that in the DG case. But this is an illustration why we don't use cell values. Because if we're using the general case, which what we actually aim to implement in the future, because now we only work with DG, if we want to work with continuous fields and we want to continuous interpolations and want to enforce continuity, in this case we will evaluate the integration of okay. We can evaluate that. We need to evaluate the integral of the shape functions of the parent cell on the child cell or on the leaves. And in this case, And in this case, we need to transform the quadrature points to another coordinate system. And in this case, we will have to evaluate the quadrature points of the parent, of the child, which is like the cell on the top, and then transform the quadrature points to the parent, which is the cell on the bottom. And this is for every refinement option, for every refinement level, and we end up with like exponentially high number of quadrature points, values of quadrature points cached, which is what we don't want to do. And then calculating the interface matrices. It works typically the same as all DG, as in the DG example we have even in Ferrite already. However, the only difference is that we don't use interface values, just for the same reason we don't use cell values. And this is an example of how it looks like. And yes, it's terrible. Yes, it's so big. We got no other option for now. The other option is just caching a lot of values at quadrature points, and it doesn't even fit on one slide. The first slide is mostly just set up which one is cell A, which one is cell B, based on the refinement level and refinement sequence, and then which one is phase A, which one is phase B, preparing the values, transforming them, and then the second slide is just iterating for all quadrature points for every base function. And that's all for now. What's the difference? The grid can be simple mesh, or it's a generic mesh, is a generic grid. The topology is very minimal. We actually don't need to store the topology. We can just compute it on the fly. The grid is not materialized after each iteration. It does not delete the parent cell like other approaches, but we can delete the parent cell, and we actually ignore the mesh matrix of the parent cell in our implementation because it's fully deactivated, and we can enforce continuity easily if needed. The current state, it works for very simple linear geometry, and it has the option to ignore the cell matrices when using DG, which is what we actually do now. To-dos are to use cell or interface iterators, because we now use a different custom iteration method or iterator. Generalized to nonlinear geometry, and separate DOF management from grid. Generalizing to nonlinear geometry should be easy. We just evaluate based on the shape functions used for geometry. And for generalizing to n dimensions, this should be trivial. And these are the references I used, the paper by Dennis and the 2 papers by Kopp, and the last, it's the template I used for Lattice. And it's a bad template. That's all. If anyone has any comments, you're welcome, or like questions.